Hello everyone, this is Bosko Popovic. I hope you have seen my previous video. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope it made sense. I tried to make it as simple as possible. For those of you who have seen my previous video, I talked about the basic levels of consciousness and how it relates to us, and basically how so-called mental illnesses are started and what is the main cause of mental illnesses. And in today's world, there's really no need for suffering and for the rising cases, I would say at alarming rate, in which people are going down, literally going down. It's like reaching epidemic levels of unhappiness, disillusionment, lack of self-belief. And I've witnessed it literally. I'm not sure if it's your observation of the same, but certainly it's mine, that a lot of us do not seem to resonate from within oneself in the way how we should really do. And what I mean by that is we simply are so externalized, and we tend to look at the external so-called reality as the be-all, and that we are just simple witnesses floating and making little contribution here and there. Not for everyone, because some people make a big contribution, some people like whatever. It just depends on how we observe and value ourselves. And basically, things will happen as they are. You can do whatever you want to do. You're going probably through meditations, and you're reading a lot of books about the personal development. You're doing your regular daily visualizations, positive mantras and what have you, but they're not working. Yeah, I've been there, I've seen it all. And yes, the main reason for that all is that we are, in effect, every one of us, are looking for the instant gratification. Now, forgive me if I'm making an assumption that doesn't really resonate with you, but it's just based upon what I've actually seen and experienced. So what I mean with that, we live in the world where, yes, we have an app for this, an app for that. If I press on this app, what have you, I will get this result, and if I do this, I'll get that result. Yes, I'm having a headache right now. I guess what? I will take a pill and it will be gone. I have a muscular pain, I will take a pill and everything will be good. I've been training really hard, running, what have you. I have a really tight sort of calf. No problem. I will just take relaxation pills and I'll be good and I'll start running again. What I'm saying this is, we do not question why things are there and happening to us at the physiological level, which is your body understanding through hearing and listening to the message that your body is telling you. Discomforts and pains are nothing but the signals from your body telling you that something is not right in the way how you live, which is your lifestyle, how you think, and what you feel. Simple as that. As explained in the previous video, the further you go away from yourself, which is having distorted lifestyle, including these three things I just explained here, your body is going to register all that. It's going to come back to you with the receptory sort of information, which you will perceive as niggling pains, and so on and so forth. You really have to act upon these things very, very seriously. And I cannot stipulate this more. Stress is another example which I've covered briefly in the previous video. And literally, what is stress? It's a disconnection. It's the beginning of a disconnection, and that disconnection has a series of repercussions on your whole of you. As I already explained, there's 3 parts to it, which is your mind, which is your body, which is your physicality. You can see the highly condensed energy, which you perceive as the body. The second part is your program, which is your biological program, DNA, whatever comes through your ancestors, what have you, which regulates everything who you are, and your conditioning, which comes from the moment you were born until the moment you actually listen to this message. So this is a long time of conditioning, and literally who you are, which is your spirit. And they all have to be aligned if you want to feel elation, if you really want to be yourself, if you want to be 100% healthy, vibrant, loving. You want to be a magnet for everything that you want to experience in your life. Now, I can hear you saying, yes, it's fine, you can talk about this and that, what have you, how can I do all that? And or maybe you're out of your mind because I heard all this previously, but it's really just a pure imagination and, what have you. I totally agree with that, because I was the same as you are some 10, 15 years ago. I was in a very bad state. Very, very bad state. I'm not going to go into that because it's a long story. Got myself out of it, learned a lot, discovered who I am, and here I am. Totally different person. So I can tell you, this works, but it doesn't work overnight. Reason why it doesn't work overnight, because you didn't become who you are over 1 minute or 10 minutes or 1 session with the practitioner or 5 sessions with the practitioner, because all that is smoke screen. And it is a smoke screen because I have all these qualifications, I've studied them all, and after years of experimenting with different techniques, I came to the conclusion that the only way you can truly achieve organic changes is through effective daily reconditioning, in which case you will progressively reprogram your subcellular level and all your energetic layers of who you are. In which case then you have a complete alignment from within that I explained in the previous video. That is the most important part, and trust me, you don't need to. If you want to go easy way, do that, it's your choice. However, you didn't come and become who you are in 1 hour. It has taken you all your life. So who you are right now is deeply engraved into your cellular memory. So trying to overwrite that particular highly condensed software is going to be some work. Yes, you can go to the clinical psychotherapist, you can go to clinical hypnotherapist, what have you, and they can try to program your subconscious mind. All it means is they will put certain so-called messages and a certain directions or directives to your subconscious mind. However, it may work initially, but where the problem starts is when you go back to the energy fields, as we spoke about, everything is energy, and all emotions, all the thoughts, everything around has energetic vibration and so-called frequency and amplitude, which is electrical discharge, with very specific values. And all the subsegments of the emotions, they have a particular mathematical value expressed in the frequency and amplitude. Okay, I'm going to the shouldn't do that, but it is what it is. So, if you're vibrating, let's say, after having a treatment with the practitioner and what have you, and suddenly you were at this particular level of frequency, and through the treatment, your level of frequency has gone up. That's inevitable. The problem is, when you go back to the environment in which resonates, and it always do, trust me on that one, below to who you are and right now, without having that consolidated that and know how to do it, guess what? If the environment you come in vibrates at a much lower level than where you've been just put up artificially without you having an input. Remember this, you having an input, you will slowly get reprogrammed, because those particular energetic frequencies will bombard you and will start to force your subconscious field or your subcellular memory to remember what it was before. This is a very, very important thing to know. For that reason, you always have to go back and back and back and back. But that is not going to help you, because that is what I call an artificial way of doing things. You have two things in that. Either you're going to go through practitioners and what have you, or you're going to be taking the pills, which is a smoke screen, which is even further, that distorts your, or it basically creates a distortion or a veil between your subconscious and the true understanding of what the subconscious has with your subcellular level. They'll become separate. So basically you will have your subconscious will not know. Through the pill taking, it will basically numb the connection between the two. So the cells will, instead of having a normal discussion between themselves as they normally do, the discussion is going to be distorted. As the discussion gets distorted, starts the process of dis-ease, right? This is the beginning of so-called illnesses, because the cells do not know how to reproduce, right? As they know how to reproduce, they slow down, whatever. As they slow down, they start producing different variations of it, which at some point, when they get out of hand, can become cancers. But it's all coming down through understanding the importance of your thoughts and your emotions, as well as your lifestyle. And what I mean by lifestyle is your sleep, very important for the so-called regeneration and reprogramming. Water intake, we're 80% water. So, that goes without saying. As your electricity, water is a conductor. So the more you are watery, the better information flow is from within. The other thing as well is the understanding the so-called pathogens as well. And the pathogens are the bacteria. So they're positive and negative. Not so much positive, because they're positive, allowing all the sort of digestion, which is very important. However, we're talking about the negative ones. And they can destabilize and create this very, very difficult environment called the acidity environment, which basically splits your blood cells. But in so doing, you have less blood cells, live blood cells that transfer oxygen and nutrients into your cells, and that actually causes even more damage and tiredness and aging, accelerated aging, and so on and so forth. So overall, you need to be aware of the complexity of who you are, and all that adds to stress. I know I've seen a lot of stress sort of trainings and what have you, where everything is basically look in terms of the external factors. Well, What does it mean? What does it mean? Anything outside what we perceive as outside is there for the reason. And why we perceive something good, bad, and what have you is because of our software, what we want to achieve, and whether that what we want to achieve corresponds to what we need to have it right now. If it doesn't correspond to what we have right now to go to where we want to go, we see that as inappropriate. If that stands there firmly, we see it as an obstacle and therefore as a threat. But in all essence really is, if you relax into it and you allow yourself to maneuver, to be like water, you will just glide around it and you're going to move on. But if you're stiff and firmly, you just cannot see anything else, you're going to stick into, look into it, and the more you look into it, the more stressful you're going to be. And it's kind of like, I think it leads into the neurosis, anxiety and depression and so on and so forth. Because you're only observing one thing, you stick into it, you're energizing it with your emotions, and it goes endlessly in that way. So the point in all that is so-called mental flexibility. To be able to say, right, okay, I'm taking this road, but hold on a minute, there's an obstacle, right, okay, but if I look at it from a different point of view, how is that going to look from that point of view? If I relax into this, what have you, and let it go, what's going to happen? Like air, water, you will quite possibly flow around it. Depending on the actual speed you're going into it, you will probably feel a hit, which is normal. But then again, you're going to flow around it. Despite the hit and the pain you will feel in the moment. So, everything is driven by the pain and pleasure. We would do anything to avoid pain and gain pleasure. That's fine, but sometimes pain is a good motivator. And it should not be disregarded as such. It should be really used as a good reference to know that the temporary pain will lead to longer term pleasure. And sometimes the shorter sort of pleasure can lead to the longer term pain. What I'm trying to say, I can take a number of equations for that. For instance, if you're trying to lose the weight. So what is a temporary pain if you're trying to lose the weight? It's basically staying away from the food you love, which is sugary products, I don't know, you name it, whatever that really will disbalance you and will make you big. And you like it. There's no issue with that, there's no problem. But sometimes if you want to really move away from that and you want to become more vibrant, lighter, what have you, you need to start eating the proper food. And the proper food is probably not what you do right now. But, and that is the pain. But if you go through the particular pain threshold of not going and enjoying what you like at this moment, you will by default reprogram yourself and will start to enjoy something that you don't like at the moment, which is so-called healthy foods. And of course, when you do that, then you will see the benefits of your new self. On the other hand, if you look at the same example, short-term pleasure is you are trying to lose the weight and you say, okay, I'll take one chocolate or I'll take one ice cream or what have you. It's not going to hurt me, and so on and so forth. If you take one will take 2, 3, what have you. You will have this short-term pleasure, but guess what? At the same time, you will experience enormous amount of pain because you're not achieving your objective. So this is important to understand as well. And all that equates, all that together adds to the complexity of stress, of causing this mental problems that we all have. It's not really a lack of discipline. It's all a lack of understanding of who you are. And sometimes people say, well, you need to know what you want. Sometimes I would say, well, yes, you need to know what you want. But the most important thing in all that is you need to feel from within yourself that you're on the right way. Because if you follow your feelings, and I mean particularly feelings of elation, then even if you do not have the right picture, you don't have the written goals or whatever it is you're taught, but for as long as you follow your feelings and what resonates well within yourself, that in itself is a good enough guidance to take you where you want to go. People might disagree with it, I accept it, there's no problem, but in my experiences, although I'm a man, what have you, a man in the physicality and so on and so forth, but I also have a female side, because we both have male and a female. And since I started listening to my female side, I became a lot wiser. Because although I do not have this intellectual understanding, right, this is the process I need to take, this is what I need to do right now to be where I want to go. But if in a moment I'm feeling good, and next action that I'm taking is feeling good, guess what it does for me? It relaxes me. It makes me more stable. So, in all that process, really, it's important to really start relating to yourself. And I'll talk about my next videos. And I'll talk about more into specifics of it. But I think for now, I think I went too long now anyway. So I think I'm going to close at this particular point. And as always, I wish you a great day, success, stay relaxed, smile a lot, and above all, be happy and stay true to yourselves. Until next time, goodbye.